And we are heading to our last speaker today. He is ranked number 5 among the top 40 most influential people in smart grids in Europe, as co-founder of the European Commission Smart Grids Initiative. He joined SAP 19 years ago. Please welcome Mr. Maher Chebbo, General Manager, Energy and Natural Resources, EMEA MEE.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. It was, by the way, a very good presentation that I have seen. And thinking out of the box, this is what we have to do in the energy sector. We need to innovate. We need really to think and get inspired also from other industries. I'm going to speak, and I have tried to shorten my presentation about innovation and digital transformation, how that can help having a smarter world and increasing the GDP. First of all, what's going on in Europe in terms of energy priorities, what we mean by digital versus the traditional IT or technology, and then give an example of smart digital projects and the call for action. We are in a world where there is more and more regulations, and each time we have new regulations, like say the third energy package in Europe, we are not changing that fast. So what we need to do is to change as fast as the regulations are decided and implemented. So we need to rethink the business models, we need to rethink the operations to be able to adapt fast to the changes. Also, for the long term, even if you have some moments of crisis where the energy demand is reduced, for the long term, there is always a need to have more and more either capacity or capacity during the peak hours. And this is what we get from renewables. For example, Germany decided to phase out of nuclear. They have to replace it by renewables. France is saying one day, maybe 2025, we will reduce the nuclear from 75% to 50%. We will replace it by nuclear. So there is a need then to have a system where we prepare ourselves for having by 2020 about 30% of renewables, 30% of energy efficiency, and less 40% in terms of emissions compared to the level in 1990. The targets in 2020 are known. We need to be at 20% renewables, 20% energy efficiency, and 20% minus in terms of emissions. And of course, we speak about the Energy Union. We speak about the COP21. Energy Union is what? Is creating a European open energy market where we have a cross-border interaction and helping each other, and where we also have, in terms of consumer, the choice everywhere in Europe in terms of the retail market. So when we speak about how the energy could be better, we have two players. The first player is the ones who produce, transport, distribute, and sell the energy to the consumers. And who are the consumers? This building is a consumer. We are at our home a consumer. So we have 25 sectors in the economy where each of them is a consumer. Cities consume, manufacturing, buildings, all the process industry. All the sectors are consuming. These are commercial industrial customers. And then in terms of residential customers, we have 250 million in Europe. So these ones have to, each of them, have energy management systems, smart energy management systems that can help them reduce their consumption or modify it. And on the other side, the CHES, the EVN, the energy providers, they have to do something about also reducing the network losses, preparing the overall system, and providing to the consumers. Providing what? Providing an energy which is cheap, as close as possible to the consumers, and as clean as possible to the consumers. These are the three things: as cheap as possible, as clean as possible, and as close as possible. So we have made some benchmarks in Europe in the working groups I am part of, and then we showed not only benefits for the network companies or for the energy providers, but also benefits for the overall system in terms of reduction of the peak to average by up to 25%, reduction in losses, 0.2%, and also social benefits in terms of creating new jobs. So we estimate if we do smart energy things in Europe, we can create about 1 million jobs in Europe. And also improving the SME and the innovations. For example, in Finland, the government has decided and has requested from the transmission company Fingrid to create a data hub, collecting data from 3.5 million customers that SME companies can come and innovate and create new energy efficiency services. So what's the digital in the new economy? We have 3 billion internet users today. We expect by 2020 to have 30 tera of smart objects. And all the statistics show that digitalization of the economy, the ones who are preparing themselves for being networked, for having the digital in place, will have a better market share. So we have 5 things that will change the world. So everybody will be connected, hyperconnectivity, supercomputing, cloud, we have a growth of 30%, which means using a solution and application which is run by others. eBay is a cloud. The iTunes Things applications are a cloud. Internet of Things, Samsung will have mostly 90% of their products all being connected with Internet of Things by 2017. And then cybersecurity is a must. The more you will have data, the more you will have vulnerability. So you need to prepare yourself for the cybersecurity. So what is the changes from IT to digitalization? So the IT had 2 eras where we are moving more into industrialization of IT, standardization of processes, and so on. And that was to answer the question, how do we manage our business? Now, moving in digital is not only how we manage our business, what business are we in? Because we can create new businesses. We can change and rethink the businesses. Uber is a new business. You have companies, Nokia, for example. They sold their mobile business, and they are now into network business. Okay? So they rethought their businesses in the digitalization world. So what we did at SAP, we created a completely new generation of software for business management, completely redeveloped, rethought on a digital platform, where the Internet of Things is part of it, where the big data, HANA memory is part of it, and all the finance, logistics, customer management, all the sectors, all the redevelopment is completely done on digital. This is the new generation of business software of the future. Is natively being designed and developed completely on the latest technologies of Internet of Things, cloud, in-memory, big data, and then having a user interface where you can use the applications like you use eBay or you use Google, as simple as that. So we are moving from the left side, business processes, where traditionally we were just trying to make the processes faster, more automated, to also a new area where information is important. How to make analysis of the big data, what intelligence we can provide. Can we predict and reduce the disease of cancer, for example? We have works on that at the Hasso-Plattner Institute in Potsdam in Germany, where we are taking a lot of big data about cancer and analyzing that to predict and reduce the diseases. Also, how we can predict that an equipment is going to fail because we have collected and analyzed all the data, predicting the consumption. So that world of intelligence, where you need to have algorithm and mathematics, where you need to have the big data, that will help you doing forecasting and predictions in real time. So the digitalization will change the game and will create new opportunities to reimagine new business models. And we will see a couple of examples. I'm a customer. I'm part of a population of 100,000 customers. I can benchmark my consumption to my peers anytime. I want to see if I'm better or worse than the others. This is a concrete example where the utilities are putting that in place. You have that as an application on your mobile device. Anytime, I can compare myself to all the others. Also, platforms, something like iTunes. Okay, we have 250 million customers in Europe consuming energy. And we have unbundled the market, so distribution companies separate from retailers, from the others. We came with the idea, as SAP, to create a project, Horizon 2020, funded by the European Commission, where we create a kind of an iTunes platform. So on the cloud, putting all the distribution electricity companies and the retailers that can exchange information and package applications that could be downloaded that can help making energy efficiency management, building information management, that can help managing the demand response management. Things where we don't need to reinvent the wheel, that we make it available everywhere in Europe. The project is called Flexiciency, Flexibility and Efficiency. It's a budget of 20 million, funded 75%. 18 companies, the biggest utilities in Europe, SAP, Siemens, and are working on it. It's 4 years project. We are in the 2nd year. And we would have something which could be used by 10,000 energy companies in Europe. So then smart cities, we did have a full track in the afternoon. I will not spend too much time on it, but I will be giving an example. Of course, cities are looking after a good quality of service for the consumers, for the citizens, live better, sustain better, innovate, work better. City of Amsterdam, many cities in Germany, like Berlin and Freiburg. And I would like to speak about one example, which is the city of Barcelona. About 20,000 Internet of Things devices have been equipped. They have put in place a system of mobile application where all the citizens can use it on their mobile, and where they are actually, they can have precision and information around them that they can help them in taking the transportation, help them in navigating in the city. And also they put in place a system where they collect information data from public lighting that they can monitor depending on the luminosity, for example, the public lighting. They estimated by putting in place digital for the smart city that 47,000 jobs were created in Barcelona. Now, what's the call for action? I was last week for 2 days, Thursday and Friday, at the Europa Forum, hosted by Commissioner Oettinger, who is the Commissioner for Digital in Europe, the highest level of digital in Europe. So he invited about 70 executives there in Lech in Austria, which is a kind of a mini Davos atmosphere. And during 2 days, we discussed 4 things. How to make digital for the whole industry. Digital in energy, digital in transportation, digital in the society happen. He said 50 billion of digital will be spent. 50 billion will be spent. And then we participated in different panels. We had a discussion under the Chatham rules, which means no press there, where we can say anything to him, and anything was said by the CEOs and general managers who were there. I came with a proposal of 5 things to be done as big projects in Europe. Number 1 is, countries are neighbors. Sometimes a country needs energy, sometimes a country can give energy. So let's develop a cross-border energy management systems. We do have projects funded by the European Commission, like eBadge, like Future Flow, that deal with that, but let's expand it, have it everywhere. Second thing is guarantee the energy independence in Europe. Europe imports 53% from outside. Let's build a cockpit, a simulator, like in the planes, where we can put all the data in that we can predict and then help when we have a crisis to keep that energy independence and reduce the 53%. Third thing is making things simple for the consumers. The consumers today, if they want to go for a clean energy or want to select this and that, it's not that simple. We need to have it plug and play. Fourth is the faster dissemination of all the applications. This concept of iTunes is to make sure that I can find any application as a service provider, as a utility. I can find any application on a platform and download it and then help managing my energy. This is what we call energy exchange platforms. And the last thing is simple, is innovations. And this event is very much about that, because you have a lot of startups selected, you have a jury to select also the best innovations. The idea is to create that venturing and that entrepreneurship everywhere by using the mechanism to develop that everywhere. At the freelance level, at the company level, the employees who can provide their ideas. The idea is to collect as much as possible ideas from the minds of people for innovation in this sector. In energy, in digital. In our company, we created something in 2003 called SAP Inspire, which is a corporate innovation invention team. We collected 1,700 ideas. 1,700 ideas in 1 year from our employees. And at the end, we did have 10 approved and 1 disruptive technology. So you need a lot of ideas. The more you have, brains, the better you can find the right ones that will be the golden ideas. Innovation is key. This is where, if we create that hub in Europe, we will have many virtual Silicon Valleys in Europe, rather than waiting to copy the other model. Today, with digital, you don't need to put physically people all together like Silicon Valley was when it was created, because there was not really development of internet. So we can create really virtual hubs where we can stimulate the innovation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much. I've liked so much the idea of the virtual Silicon Valley. That's amazing.
Okay.
And let's work on that.
Thank you.
Actually, tonight we are, for all the Platinum Pass holders, we are continuing now with the official reception by the President.
I'm going there, yeah.
So let's talk about this.
Thank you.
It's a very good point.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chebbo.